So, I have no experience with either of these teams. Well, practically zero. I think I've seen the blank games if they played either one of them. They must have played one of them, how the groups are figured, but besides that, I've watched Pacific the very least, and then China like probably the second least, then up from there, probably like EU, NA, Australia. So in that order. So I basically have no knowledge coming into the series, so it's going to be very fresh for me, and it'll probably be good because I got to learn about some players that I know basically nothing about. I'm going to wait 1 second. I'm going to check which patch this is on, because this will affect how I judge these games. Playoffs. Does it say what patch is on? Let's check the over GG. Patch 1.27. Which was that the same for NA playoffs finals? Or is that 1.27? That was 1.27. Okay, so I don't know if Winston's broken on this patch, because there's two variations of 1.27. We will assume that he is, though. So it's a lot of preference, I guess. So on this map specifically, you can play Monkey because he's broken, and then Spam because it's really good, and then it's basically preference at that point. So like, if you have good Pharah, Hanzo, if you have good Kree, Pharah, Kree, Hanzo, any of the spam heroes really, as long as you just have comfort picks. So it seems like they're going outside, they're playing Coast with 2 members, the rest of the members are playing inside, which is good. The only problem is if Talon was actually playing Monkey here, and they Monkey Sombra dove and isolated them, so they would have dove here, then they would have just forced the members to push back outside. They actually would have been like in a really bad position, but they don't have that, so this Ryan isn't going to do anything. No fun for him. They're playing Mei Sombra, which is kind of weird. I guess they want more consistent damage, but they don't still have that same tank pressure. They're swapping, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, they're just going straight goats. Goats with Ana. The problem they're going to run into is the threats are actually split here from Cyclops. So the problem they're going to run into is Pharah's going to sit on the ceiling, or she's going to play on the ledge. So she's going to play like here or on the ledge. And they might be able to send the Diva and then have the Ana potentially walk out. They don't really want the Ana to be walking out that much, but the problem they're going to run into is if they're dealing with the Pharah, they're going to get shot with the Kree, who's the Kree and the Zen are going to be able to free reign. So like, ideally you'd want to have Sombra with this comp and then just skip out on the Brig, because you're going to have the triple tank pressure on the front line, so you're most likely not going to be able to get engaged on. So you just use the tanks. You use the Sombra to mitigate one of the DPS or the Zen, and then you have the Diva deal with the Pharah or the Mercy. So you just split them up. You don't let them have both values be kind of incentive. Like, it feels like they're incentivized to basically do this, like continue to keep playing this comp. Because there's actually negative pressure on this Pharah right now.
I guess confident with that initial composition. They had to make some changes, but they still don't really have the weapons to deal with Cyclops Athlete Gaming and their composition. Amberkin's still in the skies. There's still no hit scan on Talon Esports. It's interesting they still want to play for GOATs. It seems like they're very confident playing that, but it's becoming problematic.
Yeah, CAG seem to have a bit of a read.
I think they were looking to push outside, because you can't let the Kree Zen play on the high ground. The problem they're going to run into is if they all go coast, there's a chance the D.Va and the Pharah both go for conk, so the D.Va would just walk right here, and then as soon as you'd come around the corner, you'd just get knocked off. Potentially super build Primal very quickly, and then there's a chance you have to eat the conk as well, so it just becomes very difficult for them to make a rotation there.
Seem to have a bit of a read on this. They've kind of got one all over, and they've got the possession of the point as well, so it's telling them to answer, but now the Nano Boost could be the way to do it. Villeneuve trying to get it in, but look at the time. Oh, bumped off the side, outstanding.
That was really bad. The problem also here is when they're rotating like this, they probably want to actually rotate if they want to take ground here. You want to rotate through here, because the problem they're having is the Ana has to stick with them because there's a lot of damage threats that Cyclops has, so whenever they make this rotation right here, D.Va actually has to use most of her Matrix to keep him up, because the Pharah is just sitting right above him. There's actually a pretty good chance he could have just gotten killed here. He's actually very lucky to live there.
CAG now bleeding just a little bit. Talon coming up on some pretty major ultimates as Gagora finds out Sabagon. Only the one stray back so far from Cyclops Athlete Gaming. They've got those tank ultimates, but it's not the right time to deploy them.
And this far is going really uncontested.
To deal with these tanks from Talon.
There's so many more players still alive on CAG. Now they get a week down. Barrage back into play. We know how good that was last time.
He's got to avoid that self-destruct from Gagora first, but now
They really don't want the sustained fights on the point is the big problem they're having, because the Pharah is completely reigning uncontested, and if she pokes the Ana out at all, and if there isn't any supports there to like help her out, then the Ana's going to be like poked, and she's going to have to start playing like much safer.
they need to deal with these tanks from Talon.
There's so many more players still alive on CAG.
And you can see the monkey is starting to deal with her, and like once he goes like and is primaling and like isolating her, then like the people on the point then just have like mega value on them, because like any damage done to them will usually stick.
Now they get a week down. Barrage back into play. We know how good that was last time.
He's got to avoid that
The D.Va zones them actually from like doing max DPS, but yeah, it feels like they've been like poking them, but it feels like it's just a matter of time really for Cyclops to win with the Pharah. It's just taking time to deal with like all the tanky bodies besides that.
Talon don't have any more ultimates available. There's so much more for Cyclops Athlete Gaming. Look at that transcendence. Talon, they need something in response, but they got nothing.
And the ultimate out. He wanted to go for Villeneuve, but he was already dead. He's just going to punch up Haru instead. Look to find that one. And Talon is split and scattered, trying to find something on the back line, at least catching Sabagon. But there we go. The dive collapse in on the scattered members of Talon. Hold on a second. Gagora and a weak. They're not out of this just yet, but no. Finally,
They lost their supports. They don't.
should be able to cut off the reinforcements. They at least have to duck for cover. A weak. Oh, wow.
How did the supports die here? They swapped out the Mercy because the Mercy got isolated. I don't see who's on the Lucio right now. I think he got Brig stunned or something. The Zen basically gets one clipped. Okay. Haru basically doesn't die, and then Talon just focuses the supports and really kills off their sustain, so they're able to bring it back.
Even have a death before that. Finally takes him down. Dep doesn't get enough done towards the end as that for Talon Esports. Bazzi died quite early. Comes back, still has a rally. Finally manages to use it now in Talon Esports. They got a quiet away to fight. 20% to 99.
It's a little bit tough. Oh, hold on. CAG is sneaking around. Ooh, not quite gonna get it. Here's a weak look on the back
Oh,
line.
he scuffed the one clip. He still gets it off. How?
Now Talon
Could he not have stun?
fight. I think CAG just had to bide their
That should have been an easy stun.
Nice to go. They're kind of committed right now. So Pulsepump finally moves in.
They're looking for it.
Yeah, that's a way to win a fight there without having to use anything.
CAG, this is going to turn that initial 20% now into pushing into that 40-50% territory. Talon are really extending.
The gaming just need to be able to reset a little bit quicker here. Stop losing members randomly like
Thanks, Tang. I appreciate that.
Able to sort of get past this wall of ultimates that Talon Esports are about to
Thanks for
present.
following Commander
They've
Root.
also gone back to this McCree now, and you have to still consider a week. He's been doing pretty good so far into this racer.
Yeah, he's still looking to wrap around the back line here. You see Villeneuve with the Earth Shatter not quite getting what he was after, but Gogora
I've not watched like any of this, so well, I've not watched these games or like any Pacific games this season besides like some blank games. So these comps look very, very weird.
But also necessary because they need to maintain control of this cap so far. And if Talon Esports, they don't use ultimates, they do risk losing a team fight, and suddenly CAG cap and win this opening round. And it is still the opening round. And Talon Esports starting to really climb up towards that 99 as well.
But finally, CAG being able to move forward a bit. Talon know they don't have the ideal ults to hold a choke there in a week. Takes a fire grenade from Sabadon, but Sabadon's caught up in the back line. Here we go, so the kills coming through, and Talon are just starting to bleed from the neck at this
Like
point.
Cyclops are like swapping their supports all over the place, and it's actually just it's scuffing their pushes so much. Like they had one push and they held it to 99%, and then they tried to like come back with the stall, and so they had Lucio Zen, and then it basically just meant that the Tracer was able to one clip their Zen, and then the Lucio was just able to die after. And now their Ana gets one clipped because he's standing alone and he isn't getting any help. Where was it? Yeah, he just gets one clip from behind. The Cremus is stunned. And so he swaps off Zen and swaps to Ana. But then literally the same thing happens the next fight, where he basically just gets isolated again by the Tracer. So it's not even like you need to swap from Zen to Ana, it's like you need to tell your team how to play the game. They would have had Trance for the retake as well as the problem. He ends up swapping at 70% on Zen and getting 70% on Ana.
Villeneuve's going to drop before he gets another shatter, and Teo keeping the point on lockdown. The tanks are here for CAG, and it's taken them a while. Talon nearly clawed their way back in, but it is going to be CAG securing the first map.
Yeah, they probably just should have swapped off the Pharah much sooner. That was just really holding them back. Forcing the Mercy. Maybe it's a comfort pick.
Still sticking onto the 3-3, and Cyclops at the gaming still sticking onto mainly this fire composition. Depth though, finally on the Widow.
This is old school Ghost though out of Talon, keeping the Moira in, not wanting the Ana this time around. So interesting that they're really going back to try to true, but they lose Haru in that CAG. This is what they really need to get at this point. Anakin just raining fire in from the side. Gogora is going to have a hard time contesting that. I think Talon might get this cap here.
They gotta do the safer split. So normally, like if you're trying to do the split with Mercy Zen, you end up having your monkey trying to play aggressively and trying to like spam them in the choke or whatever, and then he gets poked, and then he has to literally jump to get the mega because he's not going to get healed in time. But when you have Ana Mercy like this, you're able to split them, so you're able to have like Pharmacy and like Diva both spamming from this store, and then you have like Widow, Monkey, Ana all spamming from this door. So it's like you can make the split a bit better. The problem is your commit damage is actually like pretty trash, because you don't have the Discord anymore to basically isolate the Moira, so you have to like couple Rocket with an instant dive, or basically get the fade out before, or Widow body shot with a dive after, or just hit an anti on other targets. So that's just like, you just change the windows, where I feel like the Zen is more consistent, but it doesn't allow you to have the split. If you're Talon, you need to push out before your Lucio's dead, so you need to use that speed boost on the Ana who's in the garden, or on the tanks that are in the garden, force the cooldowns and run away from this far. Standing here just eating rockets all day is actually just really bad.
They've actually maintained control here because CAG losing a bit too much health, having to pull back.
CAG actually lost their DPSs first, and their Anakin went down. Dep follows shortly.
There was trades, but
Not enough damage to follow up, with only
they should be able to just retake with Nano Monkey.
He respawns so quickly, rejoins his team, and suddenly the
Nano Monkey, he builds Primal. You can just straight isolate the Lucio and the Brig.
I foresaw CAG winning that fight, but the fact that they lost it is so huge for Talon. Now they can get that economy going, but not if Teo.
Hey look, the sports are all dead. Nano Monkey, it's extremely broken.
Just before Talon could get any of those big critical ultimates, Villeneuve only just getting that Earth Shatter right before he goes down.
So maybe the plan should have been have the Monkey take more damage on the front line to build Nano faster, and then that's their win condition.
And now they also get to control this space in front of the spawns as well, which is very
Just felt weird because they didn't dive on like any other damage they had landed early.
That's where they're favored with this kind of comp, especially when you see a Graviton Surge available for a week.
God, it feels so bad retaking with goats here.
They need to get specifically Anakin down. There's that grab.
That's probably the best they can do, is literally just speed through the Mega and grab the snipers. Okay, these are some scuffed things. Let's see.
They need somewhere close to actually get some of these ultimates off. They need to get specifically Anakin down. There's that grab.
Oh, he doesn't have it yet. He needed to use Barrage there. I think he waited too long to Barrage, because he actually saw the D.Va use boosters like to rotate from the Mega around to his side of the map. So I feel like as soon as you see that, you gotta like do that Barrage as early as possible, because there's no other threat on him really. He waited too long, the boosters came back up. They had the problem of using the ults on the fight that felt really lost, and now they're staggering in, so they're feeding the goats back their ults. And they're gonna have low ult charge to retake.
Uses the rocket barrage instantly. Gagora takes him out of the skies. They're not able to really pressure Gagora out. They're not able to protect.
This guy gonna walk back? No, no, no. You don't play Hammond here at all. I know you want to play it versus goats, but not with broken Ana.
Big change up here from CAG onto the Wrecking Ball. Also Dep going to go onto the Heart Zone over the Widowmaker. There's the Wrecking Ball in from behind. Doesn't quite get a pile driver out, but there's a decent shield. They're looking for some kind of pick potential. There is a nice sound barrier to queue out the flank. Grab coming. There we go. They want to make something of that. Anakin again, not getting the connection. Only one before
This ball just doesn't have the same pressure.
high value. And now they're running out of time. They have to retreat fast.
And this is it. We're getting towards that 90% mark here for CAG. They need to be able to regroup. They're still losing members. All these staggered kills.
They won a fight before to retake with the Nano Monkey. I don't know why they had Nano and they just decided not to play it. Yeah, the ball pick was pretty throw. They also hard dumped their ult economy into a really lost fight, so it just makes their retakes so difficult. But they had the Nano, so you just Nano the Monkey, and that's basically winning a fight there. If not, you get to get so much ult charge. Okay, Talon is playing mega cooldown based comp here, and if they don't win instantly, they will lose hard because they cannot stay alive. That poking out the Brig is actually huge at the very beginning, because there's basically no healing besides Orb. At this situation, Orb or Lucio being on heals, but they need to make this rotation. I don't know why he's actually rotating this way. He needs to be rotating this way. There's no D.Va. That's why they're not rotating that way, because they'll get conked off. Okay, that makes more sense now, but he needs to be rotating inside as soon as he can. And if he gets Orb like he does here, that means that the dive can't play as aggressively as they'd like to, where he needs to be able to get in there and start swinging immediately, and they need to basically take control of Dojo and then zone any of the members out from like having any of this space right here because they can just all speed at them. So it's a big problem whenever he gets hit here because the orb is used on him. He's still over here. No, he's over here now. Never mind. He's actually in a better spot. But the problem is they're standing out here. The rest of the team is standing out here. They're doing damage to the monkey, but unless they like wipe and kill 2 people instantly, they're going to just lose the fight because there's no pressure on the Pharah at all. So the Pharah is just going to free spam, and they don't have the sustain unless the Brig is hitting things. You can see when she starts to hit things, her ult like shoots up, but if you just play those windows where you kite and then you come back and you just all in, then she has no value.
That's just a cleanup mode now for CAG. Anakin looking at 52% as well.
They need to swap. This isn't a good comp.
When he's not against a 3-3 ghost composition, but Dip with that opening kill into a week, that's exactly the kind of pick that CAG need. Very similar to what we saw in Control Center. Dip onto the
I feel like Cyclops can just poke Talon all day long, and there's nothing they can do about it. And these rotations are going to be so scary without the Matrix. Let's see if they isolate kill Haru. Like if they don't let him cross. Just keep buying time. There's no counter to any of these things. Yeah, big yikes. Another push that's scuffed.
For CAG, just a barrage is enough. Talon Esports deciding to come up to some important ults themselves, but what they're really lacking here is the ability to get onto a point, the ability to actually get into a fight.
It's not a lot of pressure either. Like the Lucio is basically just a speed bot in this comp, so when you're getting poked, he's not able to get the ult charge to like let you speed in and actually do things. Using 3 ults. How do they get engaged on? I know.
To get onto a point, the ability to actually get into a fight with CAG where they have all 6 members.
Okay, the Widow's rotating right now. As far as I wasn't landing enough rockets. I wish I could see this fight. Seems like he just like went to basically go on the pharmacy himself. They used their Brig and Monkey to basically just make room on the point and then just look to retake. Yeah, both Cyclops DPS like over greeted for poke there, where as soon as they're like close to the bridge, you can't play that position anymore. You have to back up. Otherwise, you're going to be spending the fight rotating, and then they're going to speed on you anyways, so not going to be able to rotate properly. Oh, they're basically going to play mirror. Except Cyclops is playing basically a counter comp, where it's like inviting them to dive on top of them. Here, dive on us, we will stun you with everything. A bit of a 1-for-1 at this point. This gives CAG opportunities. Villain, that ultimate's long since run out. Bit of damage out of the Deadeye, not getting the kills, but they're starting to open up a bit of an opportunity. Depth going down though, and losing Kid Mahoro's mech a little earlier. Let's see. Could have been saved. Tanks are both low here. Brig's not getting any healing. Did Brig die? Yeah, she did. Oh, that's a big problem. The Brig's actually the majority of the sustain here in these long fights, so losing the Brig actually just kills everyone else. Okay, that was good target practice then by Talon to kill the Brig first in that last fight.
awkward there for CAG. You notice that Sabagot actually hand traps and it's coming up. Dep dies anyway. This is now becoming a very long, strung out fight with CAG still losing members as
So-
they retreat.
They ended up like trade staggering each other like both times on this one map.
Potential fight for CAG to turn this around.
And the thing is, they have to win that fight and then ideally a subsequent one as well, because that percentage is only high.
Cyclops really would have wanted that time because they want this fight to be a little bit longer where there's no ults to engage on them, and they can just let the Kree walk up like with his team completely protecting him, and then just isolate and stun anyone who's discorded. Okay, the Winston just kills himself. They didn't need to do that. They had full pressure on the point. If they engage into your Kree Brig, you just kill them.
Not quite getting anything just yet, but Baz is down.
They need to keep Dep alive. That's the most important thing right now. And Anakin's doing work.
Oh, Dep's finally got it, and finding out his counterpart. You're right, Amakin. This is really making waves in the fight now. CAG finally getting
Number three.
after. If they can stagger out some kills, this is going to give them much needed breathing room to set up for what could be their final defense.
It started so poorly. Tayo goes down almost immediately. They're actually kind of playing triple DPS here if you count Anakin still as a DPS. But Tayo onto the Tracer.
I am watching this for the first time, but Cyclops wins 4-2.
Transcendence with Dep, so important to win that fight. But here comes that Dragonblade. There's nothing really to stop it from CAG other than a stun.
Oh, Kenma Harora has already taken the hurt. Pops out the self-destruct really early. Hunting out Sabagon. Going real deep for this one to flex. Amakin's already down to the front line. Bazzi finally finds Sabagon. Took him a while, but the connection is what counts.
I do not own or have an esports team, no, but I have worked with many esports teams.
CAG gonna lose this point now. May have one last hurrah. Amakin's on to the Doomfist. They need to force out more overtime. Cannot afford to.
I guess I had one. I made one at one point,
Amakin, he is gonna go
but I
down.
just played Overwatch.
Yeah, CAG, they're not out of this yet. Now they are 99 to 99 though. You've got to say, as close as we expected, but Talon do take lead.
Sports as well, which means one more.
Because I've been coaching Overwatch for over a year, very consistently. I want to watch this last fight again. I think it's just dumping ults, really, but
This one, there's a point where Talon, here we go, had to commit the ultimates to secure this, but it is looking good as far as securing it goes. Persia, man, that headshot.
Dep dies anyway.
hold on, it wasn't there.
And the thing is, they have to win that fight and then ideally a subsequent one as well, because that percentage is only.
Yeah, I coached League one-on-one for a couple years. It wasn't very serious, and then I've coached Overwatch for a couple different teams. I was contracted for a couple months for one team. I've done one-on-one coaching for basically a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer. I worked on a website where I was getting paid like an hourly rate for coaching one-on-one.
Not quite getting anything just yet, but Baz is down.
They need to keep Dep alive.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing right now. And Anakin's doing work.
Oh, Dep's finally got it, and finding out his counterpart. You're right, Amakin. This is really making waves in the fight now.
Hey, what's up, Agio?
Number three.
If they can stagger out some kills, this is going to give them much needed breathing room to set up for what could be their final defense.
It started so poorly. Tayo goes down almost immediately. They're actually kind of playing triple DPS.